Welcome to the talk show Life Stories with Marc Hoberman. The goal of this show is to provide a learning experience to people of all ages, with guests from various fields in academics, a wide range of industries, and insight into the many forms of art, athletics, and entertainment. We hope you enjoy the show. Model, actor, and stuntman JT Tomangi is today's guest. JT will talk about the many struggles he overcame as a youngster and continued on his path to great humanity as he gained emotional and physical strength and achieved success in the film industry.
Actor, stuntman, and more, JT Tomangi. Welcome to Life Stories with Marc Hoberman.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
So great to have you here. This is different for me. I don't usually interview people who can crush me in 15 seconds in case I ask them an inappropriate question, but it's on Zoom, so what do I care? So great to have you here. I know that you've had like a rather difficult childhood.
Yes, sir.
Including maybe poverty and gangs. Can you expand on that?
Yes. So with the childhood aspect of my life, I grew up in the foster care system, was taken away from my family when I was 8 years old. And, being in the foster care system, it's hard trying to be a part of a family. You are the outcast. So it's hard to be able to intertwine with families. There was probably 2 families out of all the families that I stayed with, which was many, that really expounded upon me being who I was as an individual and as a child. And those were 2 military families. I stayed all over the country of the United States. And it was different. The system's different. And then that entails into, joining the streets. They became my family. It was probably the only thing that related to me as a family because they watched over me. They gave me things I never had in foster care systems, with homes. They took care of me like other parents didn't do. And that's in the general sense of what I meant about the street life, going through streets, becoming a Crip. Yeah.
Did you say Crip?
Yes.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. In my previous life, I was a teacher for about 33 years. I started 8 years in the Bronx, so I taught Bloods, I taught Crips, I taught foster kids. And I haven't heard enough success stories. And many of the people who foster children are just, wonderful, amazing people. But it's very difficult. It almost puts you, in some cases, not all, behind the 8 ball from the very beginning.
Yes.
So I'm so happy that you did find some success in the foster care system. I also work with someone who's very big in foster care for adults and the kind of re-entry because they didn't have the childhood as some other children have had. And I know that at some point, sports became a big part of your life, but I think sports maybe even helped you change your life.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I took on the football, and it was crazy because running the streets and then trying to do sports, you would think it'd be hard, but football it became an avenue because when I started it, it was the first time in my life where I experienced where I can hit someone and I didn't have to go to jail for it. Right. It was okay. And I remember my first hit. My head coach was like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "Man, am I in trouble?" And they were like, "No, you're not in trouble. This is a physical game." And I was like, "Oh man, I love this," And I was bigger back then. So I gravitated towards that, and that became one of the staples in my life that saved me from the streets. And some of my homeboys who came to watch it, and also our shot caller, who I was very fortunate, who came to come and see me play, he saw the talent that I had as a football player. And that changed the whole dynamics of me coming out of the street life into becoming a normal citizen, if you want to say that. But I had a 10th grade teacher. Her name is Mrs. McDermott. May she rest in peace. But she was one of my English teachers. And I remember I just got out of the juvenile prison facilities. And she sat me down one day and I told her, she asked me, it was the first time that somebody asked me, "What do you really want to do with your life?" And I sat there and I told her, I was like, "Man, I'm a gangbanger. I could do what I want to do, and I play sports. I'm good at those things. I'm good at fighting. So just leave me alone. She was really honest. And when I answered that question, she really looked me in my eye and was like, JT. And I said, yes, ma'am. She said, you're either going to end up in two places, either in prison for the rest of your life, or you're going to end up dead.
Mhm.
And she made a commitment. It was the first time a person made a commitment to me. She said, I'll be committed to you if you'll be committed to me, and I'll stay extra hours. So she would stay extra hours after school to tutor me, to catch me up with my studies. And then she would take time out of her weekend, about 4 hours, to tutor me again. And I would wait for her to be like, oh yeah, I'm sick, or I'm with my family. I can't come and help you. But she was there, Mark. She never wavered. Even on the days when I knew she was not feeling well, she'd be like, come on, come over. And I'd be like, yo, Miss D, we don't have to meet today because I know that you're not doing well. And she's like, no, you better bring yourself over here, boy. And I'll be like, yes, ma'am, I'll be there. And she was a conduit of the first time of me realizing, man, the streets aren't the only place where I can get genuine love, you know? And yeah, that lady changed my life too, and I always thank her every day. So yeah.
Certainly. So now things kind of progress, and there's not really a tremendous connection between football and modeling. So now you're the new JT is forever unraveling
Yes.
and expanding and evolving. And
Yes.
so, how did you first get into modeling?
Uh, Man, Mark, that just came out of nowhere. So I was a fitness trainer and at In Shape in the Bay Area at the time. And I remember one of my friends, Mark, he he was like, hey, have you ever thought about modeling? And I said, man, I'm not doing no modeling. I was like, man, I just want to work out. My thing, Mark, when I came out and started to really understand society as a whole, my biggest thing with my mentors and my father, may he rest in peace too, they taught me that the most important thing in a person's life is relationships. It's building relationships. And when fitness became one of my passions, um, that was kind of another avenue for me to help others, right? And it opened up a whole nother world for me because people would come from all over and different spectrums of career basis. So I met one of my friends, and he was a big agent in the modeling industry. So he was already retired, but he had a friend in LA, and you're gonna think I'm crazy, but he told his friend, hey, I have my friend. If you're willing to take him on, he can be a great model for you. And I was like, man, I don't know, brother. I don't know about it because I was already settled in the fitness industry. I had a great career going on. I had a great clientele. I built a clientele in the Bay Area. And his friend called me and was like, hey, JT, this is Jacob. And it's for the Stars Fashion House. He has been in the business, and now he's one of my greatest mentors, and I'm very grateful for him. But he has dressed celebrities for over the past 30 years. He has dressed Whitney Houston, Tony Braxton. He still does that. I mean, J-Lo, the list goes on. And he saw my pictures and he was like, oh my God, why aren't you modeling? And I was like, well, because I've never thought about that, and it's kind of one of those things where it's like, uh, when you have friends and they see the potential in you, everybody kind of sees it before you do, right?
Yep.
And he said, hey, if you take a chance to come out here, I guarantee you'll be one of the biggest models, and we'll set you up for success, you know. So I had to take a leap, Mark, and I left everything in the Bay, packed a duffel bag, one of my old school track bags, had three pairs of clothes, and I jumped ship and went to LA. Came to Southern California, and they opened up a whole new avenue for me. And I went on a world modeling tour. We went to Toronto for the TIFFs uh, Camp Festival. So it was like a big film festival up there.
Mhm.
and they had a fashion show there. So I did a fashion show there. Then we went to New York Fashion Week. We did there, LA Fashion Week. We went to Jamaica, did a fashion week. So and then I was blessed to go to Cannes Film Festival that year. And then we did the Paris Fashion Week. So I was very fortunate, man, that a lot of people uh was accepting of me to come in because I wasn't your ordinary looking model. I came in this at the time, it's models are supposed to be really slim, slender, but now the new age now is, being you can be fit now. You know, we have the oversized models now. So it's been a blessing to watch the modeling industry evolve, but it was also just a new thing, and I was like, I'm gonna take a chance on it, and here we are.
Wow. Well, that's incredible. I have a friend named Bernie Martin who's a fashion designer, and he's been a major part of many of those fashion weeks that you mentioned. And I was out probably about 3 years ago for the HAPA Awards, the Hollywood African Prestigious Awards. And
Okay.
a lot of these award shows, there's a weekend celebration. The show may be on a Saturday night or something or a Sunday, but there's things going on. And there was a fashion show. And he said to me, hey, do you want to come backstage and see how these things work? And let me tell you something. It's wonderful to hear, the glitz and the glamour and that you had did so well. But I only was back there for maybe 20 minutes. This is not easy.
No.
There's demanding, there's makeup, there's competition, there's
Yes, sir.
self-esteem, there's knowing how to strut your stuff. I mean, it is not at all what I, as a layperson, thought it would be.
Yeah.
And kudos to you. And there are many stories that did not work out as yours, of
Right.
people who dropped everything behind and went out with their little, with their backpack and three outfits as you did. So that's very, very courageous, and that's really a life's lesson. And
Yes.
that kind of leads me to, I mean, a motto is just words. Uh,
Right.
so your motto is move strategically with intention and make every moment count. But
Yes, sir.
how do you live continuously by that motto?
Well, to move with intention with me, I learned that every decision has a consequence or a or an award in some sense, right? Uh, and with me, with my father and them, they taught me if I'm going to make a decision, you have to be all in. You can't put one foot in and keep one foot out.
Mhm.
So since then, I've moved with major intention. And Mark, it hasn't been more prevalent than it has since 2021. It I so I do a thing where I write, I create my vision board, and my vision board always starts in November of that year, but it already goes into the next year. And I've been filling those things out since being intentional. And what I mean by making every moment count, it's the little things. Everybody always thinks it's the big things, but even just watching a great friend of mine with Tiffany Haddish, man, we have so many stories, but I'm so grateful for her because she has taught me that the little things are the biggest things that make the big things work. Um, and I've been making every moment, especially the little moments where it's the quiet, still moments of, man, I just did that. In 2021, Mark, I was blessed to be very fortunate to film almost 7 to 8 films in 1 year.
Ooh.
That's very unheard of, you know. And I was very fortunate, man. I'm very grateful to the director, Asif Akbar, who is not only a great friend, he has become a brother of mine. I met Nicolas Cage's son, Weston Cage, who will be working so many great things with him. But it was that year where I can tell you that the motto came to fruition. It manifested in its own because I was moving with intention. I was locked in. I knew what needed to be done. And then I made sure that every moment that I had, even in those little still moments of winning, uh, I took those moments and was being very grateful, full of gratitude. And the right people have come around. And I think that's the biggest thing is when you're becoming successful and as you're ascending, the right people be brought into your life to help you to even exceed even more. Just like with Beverly, Bev introducing me to you, I was so grateful to her. Well, I just messaged her before I was going on with you, and she's so supportive,
Ooh.
and I'm so grateful for her, and I'm grateful for you now. So that's what I mean by the motto: move with intention, move strategically, because we have to be strategic in what we do. You can't just move here or there. You'll be swayed from anybody or anything, if you don't move with strategic intention. And then just making every moment count, being grateful for the good and bad times, because in my worst times, it has taught me to be even stronger, wiser, and to help others. I've been able to relate to so many people around the world. I've been very fortunate to travel around the world, to film with great actors and actresses, and to also be with great people who are professional at what they do.
Mhm.
So, yes.
Yeah, well, you definitely, you walk the walk and talk the talk. So with you, the motto obviously isn't just words. Quick shout out to the Beverly you're referring to is the queen of game show
Yes.
casting, Beverly Pomerantz, who hooked us up. She's just an amazing person. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So, you talk about a vision board, which is great. And when we teach, we sometimes ask kids to create vision boards. And when I do
Yes.
training in either schools and camps and even corporate, same thing. But I have to tell you, in doing some research on you and speaking with you, JT, I have my own vision board for you. And it's kind of people are told, stay in your lane. I don't think you fit that mold. I see you on a highway of many lanes, and your lane is whatever you choose it to be. So
Thank you.
it's not just sports, it's not just modeling, it's not acting, it could be something else. Maybe you'll open up a business at some point, but you take chances and you're always moving. So it's not just moving strategically, it's almost like the physical thing, you got to keep moving. So I love that mantra, and I love how you live it. So you did mention film. So now that's another layer to JT.
Sure.
So
Yes.
I don't believe acting was ever in your life's plan. Certainly modeling was not. So
Yes.
how did you end up in films?
Man. So, oh, Lord. So when I came out, Mark, with the bag, the duffel bag with 3 outfits. When I came out to LA, man, I had nowhere to stay, Mark. So I ended up in Tent City. In Tent City, if you don't know what Tent City is, in DTLA, it is one of the biggest homeless communities. And man, whoa, that was a time in my life. But how I got through that is, not only did I take a chance in modeling, but I started to do like background work with How to Get Away with Murder, CSI. They would put me in feature roles. And then I picked up clients to train them. And they never knew that I was homeless,
Mhm.
because I would crease my clothes. I would make sure my clothes were clean. I would have a gym membership, because that was one of the only things that I could afford at that time, besides keeping my phone on and make sure I had something to eat. But I went to a gym which was 24, and I would use their showers
Right.
to shower, to make sure I stayed fresh, and that I was presentable. But I never let anybody know. Nobody knew that I was homeless. I just didn't want anybody I didn't want anybody to have that feel sorry for you card, you know.
Mhm.
Um, and I knew that someone was gonna come. I knew that I could do this. Um, so I met one of the stunt coordinators, and his name is Dino, and he was really cool. At the time, he was Antonio Banderas' stunt double. So, and Antonio had a lot of stunt doubles, but I was very fortunate to meet him. And I remember him saying to me, Mark, he was like, "I will get you on these films, but I need you to hold tight." And man, let me tell some of y'all new actors, actresses, for anybody who wants to be in the entertainment business. If you think that you're going to come in and it's going to be given to you, and once you get a role, you think it's going to keep going, it's not like that. Because from the day that that man told me that, it was years later,
Mm.
years. It had to be about 5 to 7 years, right? Then we started working. He had me do like stunt stuff. I've always been a great fighter. Mixed martial arts is my background. I started with Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. So he knew what I could do, right? So we started doing that. And then 2021 is just, and it's it's crazy to me, because it came right after the pandemic. And I didn't know what was gonna happen, none of us knew what was going to happen after the pandemic. Um, and 2021, man, I got the call from him again, and he said, "Hey, we're going to do 7 to 8 films," and I was like, "What?" And not only was I going to come in as a stunt performer, that's what we call it,
Mhm.
and but the director, Asif, saw me, and Asif was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing your stunt stuff. I'll do the stunt," and I did stunt doubling, which was a great thing that I love to do. Which I was blessed to stunt double for Michael J. White, who I watched growing up. I love working with him. He is a man full of wisdom in every arena of life. So I got to pick his brain. I'm so grateful for him. Terrence Howard. Oh man, Terrence is another. He's a great, great actor. Very smart. And they're human beings first, right? Um, a lot of people say that, oh, why do they act different because they're in the limelight?
Mm.
Um, they're shined on differently, so they have to move with intention, right? So yeah, so after that, we started shooting films, and the first film we shot was Mojave Diamonds.
Oh.
It was coming at the end of the pandemic in December, and we went right into 2021, and we just went from there. And Asif was like, "Dude, I need you to play one of the roles," and he had me play Big Bubba, and I got to shoot with Rampage Jackson, UFC fighter. If you guys don't know who Rampage is, shout out to him. Cowboy Cerrone, UFC Hall of Famer, great man, great man, a family man. We pulled each other, and we made great fight scenes together. Weston Cage, who I said already, Nicolas Cage's son, I met him on that set, and we went to work. I was his right-hand man in that film. And then after that, we just grew a cohesive unit, and we ended up going from there. So we went from Mojave Diamonds. We started shooting Skeletons in the Closet. That was with Terrence Howard, Udo Kier, and then Cuba Gooding Jr. We had him, and then Valerie Ortiz was in it. Then I went over and met another great director, William Kaufman. We shot Shrapnel together, which was with Cam Gigante and Patrick from Lost Boys. He was there, Jason Patrick. We got to work with them, and the list goes on. We have MR9, Do or Die with ABM Suman. Frank Grillo was in it. Michael J. White. Um, so I've learned so many things, and that's how I became um, a full blown actor. It went straight from stunts, fighting, background stunts, stunt doubling. Excuse me, stunt doubling, right into acting. And people always knew, like, even speaking with like Michael, with Terrence, with Frank, they always knew, like, they were like, "Yo, like, this is where you're supposed to be," you know. And when people tell you that, um, you're either gonna believe it, because you have to believe it. You have to believe in yourself first, before it happens, because everybody else, like I said, is gonna see it, but they can only do so much. And that's how my acting career started. And now we're going from here. We just Boneyard with Mel Gibson and 50 Cent. Um, we have the private screening for that this month. I'm so excited. And then that film with Lionsgate drops in theaters next month on July 5th. And what a time we're doing. We have the sequel for MR9 Do or Die, MR9 Sky Dancer. We start ramp up production for that at the end of this fall. Um, we have a TV series. I have a TV series that's going to go on with Weston Cage and some other big cast members. I can't talk about it yet, but it is a major TV series.
Mhm.
He's excited about it. I'm excited about it. And then we're doing a horror film together, which is going to be in Sweden. We're trying to move it to Canada, but they want to do it in Sweden. So I'm excited for that. And then we just have a lot of other great things that are coming. And I'm just so fortunate. And I'm gonna make every moment count with that. So
I'm sure
yeah.
ton of work already. You're just getting started. In the closing
Yes.
minute, could you talk about the charity work that you've done? I know that giving back is very important to you.
Oh yes. Yeah. So being in the foster care system, growing up in that, I love working with different charity events. Like Tiffany has a foundation called She Ready Foundation, which gives back to the kids. And I love helping with them. There are Christmas things that we do for the homeless to feed them. And we usually do it at the Laugh Factory. I helped Tiffany out last year for Christmas. And I've also helped like foundations, M&J Helping Hands, which helps at-risk youth, not only at-risk youth, but at-risk youth with disabilities. That changed my life, man, because I used to work with athletes who had impairments due to injuries, major injuries, right? So that was a great avenue for me because it pulled me, and it's a different type of skill that you have to have working with youth, especially when they have disabilities. Because now you're like, oh man, how do I help them mentally, but also physically to help them like, hey, you can also do this, you know? So it was a great factor of helping that charity also. So yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's wonderful that you give back in this way and you keep moving forward and just so well-rounded in what you do. So JT Tomangi, thank you for being a guest and sharing your incredible experiences with us. Just very quickly to the viewers, don't forget to watch us on E360 TV on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. EST, available on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire. Remember to follow us on social media. Life Stories with Marc Hoberman is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and of course, our YouTube channel. So remember to subscribe. JT, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much, Mark. I appreciate you.
Thank you for watching Life Stories with Marc Hoberman. To contact Marc, email him at info@lifestorieswithmarchoberman.com or visit him on social media through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Thank you for watching Life Stories with Marc Hoberman.